At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
All right, welcome to the Author Brand Show. I'm your host, Doug Crow, and you're going to want to take notes. If you don't, you can click below and get them right now and review them. And why you'd want to do that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because our guest today is an internationally known speaker. Talking before the show, she just got off the same stage with Elton John, for God's sake. So she's an author. She's a leadership development consultant. She's got more credentials than I could possibly read with her master's in science and training and development and organizational development. She's probably forgotten more than I'll ever know. She's got a couple books out, and she's got a very special thing to offer us here today as well. So stick around, and let's welcome to our show, Amy Riley. Amy, how are you?
Great, Doug. It's always good to be with you and your energy.
Thank you. You know, we talked before the show about why they should bother listening to us today, and I was so excited to hear about it because you have uncovered and distilled 11 things that leaders do inadvertently that is killing the productivity of their teams.
Yes.
So we're going to cover the top 3 of those in a minute. But before we do, I'd like to know more about you with all your credentials here. How'd you get into becoming a organizational development and master's in training and development? Where did it all come from?
Yeah. Well, if we go back many, many years, I remember being a student in my chair in elementary school and thinking, oh, I would do that when I leave in a classroom. Oh, I wouldn't do that. Like, look at how everybody's involved. And I remember thinking, I don't want to be a teacher. Why am I tuning into this? Well, fast forward into the workplace, and I realized I was really interested in how leaders inspire and engage the people around them. How do we get people working together, get them working, get them engaged, get them focusing on the results? And I was always interested in how do we learn? And I started my own customized learning and development company. And very quickly, I realized, Doug, I'm really interested in how leaders do what they do.
This is right out of college?
Oh, so in my first job, no, my undergraduate degree was international business.
Okay.
And I studied in France. And so I didn't know what exactly to do with that. So I got myself into an international company, and then they used non-trainers to help facilitate their training.
Wow.
And that appealed to me. So yeah, there I was, very early 20s, facilitating training programs. And we were doing a reorganization of our field folks, sales and service. And I was involved from a sales support, number crunching side, but I kept asking the people questions. How are we going to transfer what they know about their territory to this person, right? Some of these folks are independent contractors. Are we allowed to train them? Like, what can we do? Like, how are we going to get them set up for their new position in their new territory?
Right.
So the woman in HR who was guiding the large-scale change effort took me out to lunch, and she said, Amy, I've been watching you facilitate. I hear the questions that you ask in our reorg meetings, and they're all people-focused. She said, I think you want my job. And I said, I think I might. So that's when I started to pursue the master's in training and development with the emphasis in organization development, and started putting myself in those talent development roles.
Wow. We're going to get into the 11 things, or at least the top 3 ones here, of what people are inadvertently doing to killing productivity. But I'm sort of curious about what you just said in terms of the people side. I mean, there's always, I've talked to so many people, especially in your space, like, yeah, if it wasn't for the people, business would be easy. What's the underlying thread that connects all the challenges people have with training, development, organizational development? What's the common biggest challenge in all those?
In really creating development opportunities that truly develop people for the long term, it's meeting people where they're at. How does this individual learn? So if
All right.
we're trying to develop a group of leaders, are we engaging different modalities? So if someone
Yeah.
likes to learn by doing, if someone learns by listening, if someone learns by
Hmm.
observing, are we getting all of those different touch points and access points to people in there, understanding their world? Right?
Hmm.
And what's important to them, and pulling that from them. Like, why would you want to practice these skills or do this thing in this new way, right? How is that going to serve you? How is that going to help us collectively attain what we want to?
Right. So anytime there's more than one person, you really got to have like all the modalities firing pretty much, right?
Yeah, probably.
Interactive, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. What are is there 3 or 4? What do they have there? Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and is that it? Or is there another one?
uh yeah, that
Right.
visual, auditory, kinesthetic. Yeah. And yeah, no, that's all of them. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't have one for taste
Tell
or other
me,
stuff.
show me, let me try it, right? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
and then
I
and then
was thinking
how
of the
do
senses, the 5 senses, right? We got eyesight, hearing, and our body movement, but nothing for taste or smell, I guess. So that's
yeah,
another
yeah,
opportunity
yeah,
for you.
yeah. Well, I was searching for a fourth one, and that's really like, how are we making sure that we're applying this in our day
Right.
to day?
Or yeah, there's modeling things like practicing and exercise, and there's doing it in the real world. It's like maybe that would be like fake, paper trading versus real trading. We're gonna practice skills training in the exercise here. Go back and use it with your team tomorrow, and come back and tell me how it went. That might be a
Yes, those
advanced level
are
experience.
yes.
Yeah.
That's what you want in your programs, right? You want some skill development, some learning, some aha
Hmm.
moments, some simulations, right?
Right.
And then you want to have very intentional practice and application. And then you want to come back and talk
Hmm.
about, how is that working? Where were your
Hmm.
successes? Let's
Yeah.
tease out those lessons learned, those things that you want to practice and repeat and
Hmm.
believe, right? And then what didn't work, right? Where
Yeah.
do we need to fine tune?
Right.
Yeah,
And I'm really curious about one last question on the training thing, is I'm reflecting on the teaching and stuff that I've done myself and people I've
yeah,
talked to. What do you do when you've got a group of, a good sized group, and there's different levels of experience and wisdom and skills there? Like, I got somebody who's really skilled in this, but he's also in a group of people who need more skills. How do you keep that person engaged and not bored if they're already, moving along the train there?
yeah. Uh, Two things I want to share about that, Doug. I mean, one is, I think often content and things meet people where they're at,
Hmm.
right? So, I mean, if we're talking about planning,
Hmm.
right? A level, a first line leader of a team, will be thinking about planning at their level of scope. And then
Right.
a leader of leaders will think about planning at their level of scope. So some
Hmm.
things meet folks where they're at, right?
Oh,
And and someone in front of a room of a group of people like that, right, might be needing to switch their language and their scope for different
right.
folks. I think also, if you've got a development program with different levels of folks in it, maybe in the full group sessions, you're hearing from everybody, but then you
Yeah.
might have a peer learning group that includes folks of their same
Okay.
level, right? So now we're talking about, what are the challenges and the opportunities for those of us who are leaders of leaders.
Right.
And they're getting that in a peer learning group. That could even be self-led. The group
Nice.
is doing
Okay.
it.
I like the first part about it's if you keep it, it's kind of like in sports, it's back to the basics. If you can keep refining the basics, no matter what your skill level is, you can apply the basics, whether you're beginner or advanced. I think that's as long as they can interpret it for their meaning, the leaders of leaders versus the first levels. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, think about, if you're running a basketball practice, right? And you're doing
Hmm.
dribbling,
Yep.
some folks are going to look a lot better going down the
Yeah.
court than others, and
Yeah.
and that's what you can get in a
Mhm.
a workshop room as well.
I love it. Okay, so let's get to the 800-pound gorilla, 600-pound elephant. What are they going to call it here? The 11 things leaders inadvertently do to kill productivity in their teams. Don't have time for all 11, so we'll get to that in a moment. But what are the top 3? And can we dive into them a little bit? Give me some depth on them.
Yeah. These might be in no particular
Yeah.
order. Um,
Mhm.
we often, Doug, focus on incremental change.
Okay.
But if we put a bigger belief, a bigger goal out there, like
Hmm.
let's revolutionize how this looks,
Yeah.
right? Like, let's say a process takes 4 weeks to complete right now. Let's say we want to do it in half that time.
Hmm.
When you throw that out there, then you're encouraging thinking on a whole new level. And we often want to play it safe and we want to set ourselves up for success, right?
Yeah.
Let's trim a day or two off of this, right? Rather than let's cut this in half and see what
Hmm.
all of the productivity improvement ideas are that we could come up with. So when it's important to your business and it's going to provide value to your internal customers, your external customers, play bigger there and don't go for incremental. Go for
Hmm.
revolutionary.
Yeah. Elon Musk, occupy Mars. Everyone's trying
Here,
just get a rocket orbit because I'm going to Mars. Like, okay, that's a big dream, and people much more rally around something that's visionary. I'm thinking. Okay,
yeah,
so yeah, think bigger than you already are. That certainly would help though with creativity for sure. Productivity too. It seems like. All right,
yes,
what's another one?
yes. Not having clear expectations of the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Right, we might have an area of responsibility, or you're running the monthly reports, but what are the monthly reports for? What is the outcome? What is
Yeah.
the Yeah, right, like what does achievement, what does success really look like? and
Yeah.
and I think often as leaders it's just clear in our heads, so we think
Yeah.
it's clear in other people's heads, but
Mm-hmm.
really sitting down and having a two-way
Yeah.
discussion about what's the outcome, what are
Mm-hmm.
we going for, not like how are we going to get there, because
Right.
ultimately you want to leave that how to your capable team member to
Mm-hmm.
figure that out.
I love that. I smiled because when you said, "What is this report for?" We've got the movie Office Space. What are the TPS reports? It's like, what is this for? It's like, I don't know. We've always done it this way, right? So it's funny. So yeah,
Right.
expectations, setting expectations high, low, or just letting them do it on their own. Like you said, just having them come up with their own solutions sometimes is surprisingly good. If they've been, I've heard stories of guys on the big inventions coming from the guy, the foreman on the shop floor, who's like, "Why are we doing it this way?" He comes with one little tweak and
Yeah.
changes the whole production line.
Yes. And we can
Yeah,
more easily trust that people are going to run off in the right direction if we're
right.
really clear about what are we trying to accomplish here.
Yeah. Start with why. Thank you, Simon. I love it.
Yes.
And we had 11, but let's do one more, and then we can give me a summation. What's the third one?
Yeah. The other one I picked out to talk about today is often when we want to make a change, we look at an incremental behavior level.
Hmm.
And I am often sharing with folks the model: beliefs lead to behaviors, lead to
Yeah.
results.
Yep.
And if we're at the belief level and we're thinking the marketing group is never going to get this,
Yeah.
they never think about this in the right way. They don't put the
Hmm.
right things out in the marketplace. They don't do it right. So if I'm believing that about my marketing group,
Yeah.
there are actions I don't even see as possible, or I'm not going to
Yeah.
take them very powerfully. I'm not
Hmm.
going to partner with them in a strong, collaborative, co creative way because
Yeah.
I believe that they're never going to get it. So if we want to make true change and get different results, we've got to look at what we're thinking and believing and feeling. And I'm
Yep.
not saying that it might, like, okay, in an instant, I see that, I think that the marketing group's not thinking about this the right way. So, okay, they're thinking about it the right way. No, I might need to tell myself there's a lot possible if there's
Hmm.
a
Hmm.
strong partnership with
Yeah.
marketing,
Yeah.
right? And if I believe that there's a lot possible, if I have a strong partnership with marketing, then I'm going to start looking at how do I strengthen that
Mm.
partnership with
Right.
marketing? And then we're going to be able to create some different kinds of results together.
Nice, nice. I actually drew this out on a book that I did years ago. I call it the BAR, Belief, Actions, Results.
Yeah, yeah.
But I turn it into a circle spiral
Oh,
because
yeah.
belief creates action results, and those results reinforce the belief and can spiral up. And the opposite is also true, right? If you believe some negative and you take a little, no action or some action, it can spiral down as easily as it can spiral up. So that belief piece is critical because and it could be a subconscious belief or conscious belief or whatever it is. Any small action that creates a small result always will reinforce the belief, whatever it is.
Yes, yes. And sometimes this is belief work. Because we're making headway, and then someone in marketing does the thing that takes us back to, oh my gosh, they don't get it, right? And then we got to do the work again.
Right. So I'd like to hear a story now. Give me a story of one of the clients you've worked with on either one of those limiting beliefs or one of those three things they did to kill productivity and how you turned it around for them. Pick your last best use case study if you like.
Yes. Okay. All right, I'm thinking about a leader in sales. And she was really clear on her purpose for her leadership. Doug, I call it a leadership legacy. And her leadership legacy was creating a proactively prospecting sales team. She had had a lot of success in her previous role. And then when she and I worked together, she had just been promoted to a new division, new team, new territory, right? So it was new product, new people, new area of the country. And she was doing her thing and the team was not having it. Right. They were like, our previous manager just kind of let us do our own thing. We know these customers. We know what they want and what they don't want. Like, just let us do our thing. But she was brought in to increase sales in that area. She had a pretty aggressive 20% number in front of her. So we started looking at, what do you need? Right? Like, Maria, in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish, what do you need? She's like, I need them to believe in me. I need them to be open and willing to learn from me. Okay, so we started looking at, like, how do you create that?
Yeah.
And I said, I think you have to go first.
You have to do what first?
That she had to go first.
Yeah,
as
of course.
the leader. Yeah, right? Because there were things for her to, she had an approach and a methodology that she wanted them to learn from her. But she was also coming into a new area. These were new products and solutions. She can learn those. So she asked them all for a couple of days in the field where she could learn. And she said, I'm going to be open and I'm going to learn as much as I can from you. And she did. And they set up great days for her. And then we had talked ahead of time. She was throughout the day explicitly sharing with them, here's what I've learned. Here's what I've learned. Thank you, right? This is what I've learned. And then after that experience, then she asked them to do the same. Can they come with an open mind? And she asked them for a couple of days in the field, one in an industrial area where they didn't already do much work, and one with current customers where there was an opportunity for growth. Right. And this was scary for the team members. Right. But they set up those days, and then she was showing them how to, go to a new area and open up Google Maps, and what research do you need to do in order to launch new conversations and knock on doors, and what kinds of conversations can you launch with current customers to begin to open the doors to new potential solutions.
Sure.
Yeah. But it was all playing at the trust and the belief level. How do we open up and learn from one another? And if you're going to ask your team to do that, go first and show that you're willing to have that same vulnerability.
That is a great story. Leadership no, I'm serious.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm sitting there, I'm in the car on the ride along thinking about that because I've, had some sales experience, and I remember going with my managers, and you're a little nervous at first, but after a while you realize they're just there to help and stuff. That's really a good it's more than vulnerability, right? It's like, I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be open to your stuff, even though I'm secretly not going to listen. I don't know, but you open to what they're doing just to get them. And one of my friends explained it this way. He said, you ever try to pour coffee into a thermos with the lid still screwed on? It doesn't go in, right? It's not going to put anything new in this thermos because the lid's on it. Your only job is to unscrew that lid first, right? Then you can pour stuff in. So she had unscrewed that lid by showing them, yeah, I'll go around, learn from you. You're being here a long time. I'm brand new. I'll learn from you, and then, oh yeah, sure, they're pretty open. Okay, I guess I'm open too, right? It's so.
Well, it felt counterproductive to her.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, she just really wanted to start pouring that coffee, right? But we had to slow down to speed up, and she had this looming number and this expectation on her, and how am I gonna get there? And it's like, well, you are not gonna get there without the team with you.
Slow down to go fast. I love that, Amy. Really good. So there's an assessment you got for this whole thing, right? These are just 3. There's 11 different things that leaders are inadvertently doing to kill their productivity. So how can people get all 11? What can they do?
Yes. So it is a free assessment out on the website. You go to courageofaleader.com/inspire your team. And you'll find the assessment there in less than 10 minutes. You can take the assessment and you will get a customized report sent to your email. And that'll help highlight where you are and are not killing productivity.
Yes. Okay. Be vulnerable with this assessment. So be honest with it. Okay.
Yes.
It's right below here, courageofaleader.com/inspire your team.
Yes.
Terrific.
Yes, and if
Amy,
things are going
so
well,
much.
like this can help you take the team from good to great or great to exceptional.
Yeah. Terrific. Any parting words of wisdom for those leaders who are going to be vulnerable for 10 minutes during their assessment?
Yeah. I mean, Korn Ferry's research tells us that there are 38 different leadership competencies.
Mm-hmm.
We are never going to, we're human beings, right? We are not going to rock and roll in all 38, right? And I'm a believer in leaning into your style and your strengths. So the information that you will get from this assessment will highlight how do you continue to do what's already working? How do you lean into that in stronger ways? And how can you put some things on your radar like, ooh, the way I'm operating there is not working, right? But I can shift that in ways that are still aligned with your strengths.
That's good. Yeah, you can't be somebody you're not. That's really smart. So courageofaleader.com/inspire your team. Get the assessment, take it honestly. And if you're fortunate to work with Amy, you can be very, very lucky. So thank you so much for being on the show today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug. This is really fun.
You bet. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this episode. The karma points will be in your favor. Thank you.